Hello, everyone. Welcome to our brand new, renamed Easy Essentials class, which is now our Master the Basic class. And I have with me on stage tonight Kate Chen and Kay Jones. So that's going to be really tricky for me. Kate and Kay. So don't mix them up. Very, very important. All right. My name is Jenny Falter, and I'm one of the local BDMs here in central Melbourne in Bayside. And you have been invited tonight, hopefully by your local consultant that is looking after you. And part of your customer journey with Thermomix is, well, not only that you have a consultant that's looking after you, but also we'd like to look after you with online classes, also face-to-face classes, additional demonstrations, just everything that you making sure that you get the most usage out of your investment. And if you haven't invested in a Thermomix yet, then hopefully we can show you something tonight that will convince you otherwise. So without any further ado, we are heading straight into Kay's kitchen first, who is going to show us tonight some magic she is doing with onions and pumpkin. All right, let me spotlight you for everyone. Here we go. Hi, Kay.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. I'm Kate Jones, a team leader. So for those that don't know, yes, I'm doing the sautéed onions and the pumpkin soup. So I am going to show you. So I've cut the onions into like wedges, which it says for this recipe. But you can also use the cutter to do that. So does anybody have a cutter already? Some people? Yeah, cool.
Yeah, pop it in the chat. I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat box as well. So if you do have any questions, feel free to pop them in here as well.
Yeah, awesome. So the cutter is a host reward, which is available till the end of the year. So you can get a discounted cutter just for hosting, or discounted again when there's a guest purchase of a Thermomix. So it's worth $2.19. So it's an amazing attachment. It's been very popular. So there's this little bit that sits on the blades. I'll show you that. So this little shaft bit here sits on, and then you pop this bit into the bowl. So this is like the basket, and this keeps your bowl clean as well, because everything will go into here. And then there's two sides. So there's the cutter, the slicing or the grating. So, and you can do thick or thin slicing and grating. So whichever side is up is the one you would be using. So say if you wanted to do slicing, you put side one up, pop it into here, and then pop it into the basket there. And then in your Thermomix, you can go for the TM5 or TM6. You go to modes here, and there is grating or slicing, and that is where you would choose thick or thin. And you feed in your fruit or vegetables or meat or cheese through there, and then you're grating it or slicing it, which is amazing. So tonight I'm not going to use it for the onions because I've already cut it into wedges, but it could be used for slicing the onions very easily. And it's great for doing large quantities, you know, for barbecues and things. You can freeze it. There's been so many uses of it. Salads, pickles, ratatouille, galette. The scallop potato is amazing as well. So for the so if you don't have one of those, reach out to your consultant and find out how you can get one at a discounted price just for hosting a demo. So but today I'm going to do the sautéed onions, and then I'm going to use that in the pumpkin soup. So I'll just go to my wheat. And the sautéed onions 200 to 300 grams recipe, but there is a recipe for a larger quantity as well. I'll bring it a little bit closer, and I'll just go start cooking. So it's just 20 grams of oil. So I've got olive oil, but you could use alternative oils as well. And it's got the scales here. And it says 200 to 300 grams of brown onions cut into wedges. That is. And go next. And it says to put the splash guard on. So this is new with the TM6 as well. So it's a splash guard for doing the high temperature meat and onions. And that just sits on. It will prompt you when to put it on. And we'll go done. And turn the tide. So it's going to, yeah, very yummy. This is delicious. So you will hear it sizzling and it will stop. And it will stop and start with this high temperature mode. And it will caramelize really beautifully, which is something that the TM6 does really well. So you'll hear it sizzling away, and then I will come back and show you how I'm going to use that in the pumpkin soup as well. They can hear it now, and these recipes are on Cookidoo as well. So I will go from step 3 of the pumpkin soup, and I'll be scaling the recipe down to 2 portions. So you can scale recipes up or down depending on the recipe, and I'll come back and show you that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kate. And I have now added Kate to the screen, so we will hear from her. So that's when we're going to, once again, I just need to move you guys around. You're so fast. This is now we're going into the bread and butter business, don't we? Hi, Kate.
Hi there. I was just ducking over to my fridge because it's really important in this recipe to have a cold bowl. Okay, so it is actually quite ice cold. I had some water in there just to make sure that that it was cold, and maybe pop in the chat if you know why that's the case, while I pop in the butterfly whisk. So with your Thermomix, you will get a butterfly whisk, and that sits over the blade. And can I see in the chat anything about the cream as yet? So I'm just going to pop that over the blades, and we always think of Beyonce when we do this, to the left, and we're going to put it to the left of the high blades, and that means that it's not going to move as much as you would if you put it to the right. Okay, so be like Beyonce and pop it over there. I've also gotten the cream. I've got this pure cream from Woolies yesterday. So it has an expiry of the 6th of September. Normally when I make butter, I will use actually a cream that's closer to expiry, and you can often just pop that in the freezer if you pick it up nice and cheap. Sometimes I've got it for less than $1, put it straight in the freezer, and it makes butter really well. But if you are doing cream, you do need to have one that hasn't been frozen before. So this does take a little bit of listening, this recipe. It does have a recipe on Cookidoo, and if you wanted to go on to that the first time you're doing whipped cream, there's a whole lot of tips at the bottom of the recipe, so I would recommend doing that. It's saying the temperature of the cream before whipping should be around 5 to 6 degrees Celsius. Okay, so I've got mine nice and cold, and Jenny, was there a response in the chat there about cream?
No, but why your bowl has been in the fridge? No, so I'm just sharing the recipe. So I've in the chat box, by the way, there is the recipe link to Cookidoo for the sautéed onions already, and I've just added the whipped cream to it. No, we haven't had any responses yet. So would you like to share why?
It actually just can break it up a little bit, and yeah, you're less likely to have a failed whipped cream if you do have a cold. So and we also don't want to over whip this, because then we would turn it into butter. All right, so if I was to be doing the recipe, I'd be going start cooking. It shows you, there's a little video on the screen if you need instruction on putting the butterfly whisk in. But for now, anything between 200 and 600 mils of cream is good, nice and cold, and they do say chilled. All right, if you did want to make this to be a sweeter kind of cream, then you would be just milling up a little bit of sugar before doing this step, so that you've got a nice dry bowl. Okay, so we are just putting in however much cream you want. You do not want less than 200 grams, because then you'd have to probably be scraping down the sides a little bit. So anything between 200 and 600 is really good. And it's just under 600 there. And then it actually tells you turn speed to speed 3. And you're actually looking in there to see and listening to see.
All good.
Okay, cool. I'm just reading the comments to hear when it's actually turning into cream, because you don't want to go too far, otherwise then it does turn into the butter. Okay, so normally I would just do this on manual, so I'm actually going to cancel out that recipe. And on the manual screen here, we've got time, temperature, speed, and I'm just going to go to speed 3 and listen out for when the, yeah, I always just pop that on there just so that it doesn't splash me in the face. But I'm just going to be listening, and from when it goes from being that really, liquidy kind of splashy sound, and then keeping an eye on when it actually starts forming those peaks. Okay.
Yeah. So because we can't really hear the change in sound on Zoom, unfortunately, that is something we have to show you live and in person. So if you want to get the full experience, I mean, Zoom is just one-dimensional. So with all the smells and the tasting and everything, then this is your chance to book your consultant to come over to your place or meet us either in the Glen Iris office or Moorabbin office, whichever one is closer to you. And we can show you all of this live, and you also get to not only smell and hear, but also get to taste the food that we're making. All right, so for the whipped cream, it's really important that we do not over whip the cream. All right, so that's why yes, there's a Cookidoo recipe in it, but Kate here prefers to do it manually. And the reason really has to do with the age of your cream. So as a rule of thumb, the longer the expiry date, the longer it's going to take for your cream to turn into butter. Right. So if you are trying to make butter with fresh cream and Cookidoo recipe tells you 1.5 minutes, and after 1.5 minutes, it doesn't look like butter, then your cream is too fresh. So the trick here is just keep going. And honestly, it can take up to 10 minutes. All right.
I'm just going to show you there. So that's a bit thicker than it was. So we're nowhere near where we need to be. And that was just over 1.5 minutes. So I'm going to keep on going. But yeah, as I said, I only picked up the cream last night. So yeah, anything up to speed 4 is okay. Speed 3, 3.5 is ideal. Might just pop it to 3.5 because it is quite quite fresh cream. Getting a milk bath here.
Yeah, no, we can still hear you. So actually for all the new owners here, did you know that speed 4 is the maximum speed to go through when you have the butterfly attachment on the blades, right? Yes, we do sell spare parts, but let's not go there. Just be mindful. Oh, we heard a change in sound.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're getting there. It's just I'm just waiting till it actually doesn't drop straight away from the side. I've got my AirPods in too.
And you're welcome. There's actually also an imprint on your butterfly whisk on the side where it says maximum speed 4. However, I always try to remember the 4 corners of my butterfly whisk. Oh, doesn't that look great?
Yummy. That's perfect.
Cappuccino, here I come.
Put a little bit of it on the side for later.
Yeah, so remember the 4 corners of your butterfly whisk. That's always how I remember not to go over speed 4.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. All right, so that's nice and thick whipped there. That's beautiful. So yeah, great to use on lots of lovely things. As I said, if you did want it a little bit sweeter, the chantilly cream, then you can pop the sugar in. Yeah, at this point, if you like, but milling it in the bowl before you get started is really good too. All right, now I need to get this whisk out of here.
No, you're going to continue with the butter, don't you?
Of course I am, yes. All right.
Show us how you make butter.
Very good. All right, so I did program the things that I'm making tonight into my week. I got the the yummy indulgent things tonight. So we start with whipped cream, and the next one is butter. And we're just going to go start cooking. Insert butterfly whisk. I've done that already, so there we go. And next, so I've got the 600 grams of pure cream. We're already halfway there, and we're going to keep on going. So lid on, measuring cup on, click next, and this is 1 minute speed 4, so it's a little bit faster than we did the cream, and that's just going to whip until the solids and the liquids have separated.
All right. Yeah, that was what we were mentioning earlier about the how long it can take to before you actually get butter. You definitely, when you experience that, doing that for the first time yourself at home, I can highly recommend do that. It is it's simply amazing, and also you can make different flavored butters. So, have you ever thought about making your own flavored butters? What recipe would you like to make? Maybe a herb and garlic butter. That goes very well with the steak also. Yeah. Oh, anchovy butter for steaks. Yes, Ash, that's a good one.
I actually popped, I was down the peninsula a couple of weeks ago and picked up some truffles and blitzed those up.
Stop
and
it.
made some, made some truffle butter, yeah. And used that the other night actually to saute some leek with a bit of that in there. Okay, we need to keep going actually.
Nice.
And yeah, for a steak chopper. So very indulgent.
We got a couple of more savory butter ideas with the herb is nice, and jalapeno butter, but also sweet butters, right? So we could also go down the path with honey and honey and or a lemon butter, or so all these different flavors. What was I saying? Cinnamon butter that you can have on the top of your pancakes. Here we go.
Still not there yet. I just
Not
had
there
to
yet.
yeah, it's very close. I just wanted to scrape down the sides just to make sure we're all getting there, but we're close. We're close.
Beautiful. Yeah, so when you think of the cost of butter these days in the supermarket, I mean, 500-gram block of butter, even if I buy it at Aldi, that's still around the $6 mark. So here you can actually really grab a bargain if you walk into the supermarket and you see those creams being reduced to, I don't know, 50 cents or so a pot. This is where you're going to strike, all right? This is where I want you to go. And then, oh, I remember, now I'm going to make my own butter from it and really go crazy. Do your normal unsalted butter, do your salted butters, and try all these different flavors. And I'm going to show you later on Cookidoo where to find all these recipes for those flavored butters there as well.
All right, we've got some lovely buttermilk coming out of this now. I'm going to show you. All right, it can be a bit of a messy little step, but I'll show you. All right, so we now have the solids and the liquids, and I'm just going to have this here just to catch some of the bits. Okay, but I will be draining it. But can you see that? All right. All right, so next step. So they have separated. Remove butterfly whisk. I get to do this now. All right, so I'm going to wiggle it a little bit anti-clockwise. Get rid of all that beautiful butter. Make sure that's not wasting any of it.
So we got a couple of questions. Can I use this butter when making bread?
What a great idea.
Absolutely, you can. We're going to show you that in a minute. And also, just to repeat, she said, did you say that making butter you should not freeze, or was it for the whipped cream? So
it's just for the whipped cream. So it's perfect. So say if you're at the supermarket and you see some 50-cent butter and you think, oh, actually, I don't have time to make that tonight or tomorrow. It's perfect. You just throw it straight in the freezer. It's just not good for whipped cream. That's all.
Yeah, perfect. So again, if you see the bargain in the supermarkets, you're going to strike and you pop it in the freezer if you can't make the butter straight away.
All right, so I'm now going to just in this bowl separate the beautiful buttermilk. And I wouldn't normally do it in this bowl, it's just so you could see it from the butter. Okay, so I've got all that. Now it says that I can reserve the buttermilk for later if desired. I do desire to do that. And I'm going to just pop the sorry, I'm just going to pop that over there. As I said, it can be a little messy. Drain that for a sec. And it's asking for 500 grams of chilled water. And again, the same, we don't want the butter melting, otherwise it's not going to separate. So we're going to use chilled water that's been in the fridge for a little while. We're not cooking with this, so 500 is like an approximate measurement. So I'm not going to have to go to the gram, although I might. Yeah, okay, so 520, no problem. It's not like I'm baking bread here or cakes. And it's asking to put the butter solids back in. Okay, so I'm going to be washing the butter now. And the more you wash it, so the less, what would you call it? The less of that buttermilk that's left in the butter, the longer it's going to last, because that's going to sour quicker than the actual butter solids. All right, I'm making a bit of a mess here. Dripping buttermilk everywhere. All right, and insert measuring cup. Yes, that's a very important thing to have the cup on at this point. And we are washing for 4 seconds the butter.
All right, so if you do have any questions about the washing the butter, so pretty much, so Kate was saying, so it's important so your butter actually lasts longer. And you can also wash your butter twice if you want. So what you're going to get now is in the residue is like a diluted buttermilk, which is still great to use in the baking, by the way. And I'm going to talk a little bit about where else we can use the buttermilk, or the second and the third wash. If you prefer to do one, then that would probably go down the sink because there is no real flavor in there anymore left. And yeah, so once that that buttermilk bread, which is the next one, here we go. You see your beautiful butter. And we got to
just wash. Sorry, so I've just washed that the one time, and yeah, you can do it a second time, but I'm not going to for today. So I did take the buttermilk out of that bowl. It's beautifully preserved elsewhere, and I'm just going to get rid of as much liquid as possible from this. There for a second.
Yeah, and I've got a beautiful comment here from Anthea, who said she loves the end product. She makes butter regularly. In the beginning, she was a bit disappointed because it didn't have the bright yellow color, which, you know, like in the picture, or the one that we are probably used to buy in the shops. But now she's much happier that because it just tastes perfect. So thank you so much for that comment. And yes, Anthea, you would be surprised what else they put into the supermarket butters to make them look bright and yellow. So all the things that you actually don't want to have in your food. So here you are absolutely in control what you're putting in there. All right.
Okay. So the instruction there is to roll the butter into a sausage shape, okay, which I'm going to do. I'm just going to use the silicone mat to do that, and I will be using that afterwards with the bread as well. Okay, so if you haven't got a silicone mat, there's a number of ways you can get this. It is a host reward. If you host your own cooking experience, you can get one discounted or free. They are also in our business kit. So if that's something that interests you, you can get one of those in the business kit. You want to jump on board. All right, so I am just squeezing out. Sometimes I use my hands to do this, but I'm not going to tonight. But can you see there's still some liquid coming out there? And we really want as much of that to come out so that our butter preserves. And all those flavored butters that we were talking about before, this is the point where you would whiz up what you want. Maybe just, make sure that all the liquid's out of there, but whiz up what you want to put through your butter in there, and then put the butter back in and make it nicely combined. And the reason we do it into a sausage is so that we can freeze it and then cut it off in discs. Beautiful toppers for your steaks. They're actually also very, very good to pop in a little bit of that into one of your sous vide bags. So if you might like to do some garlic and dill and pop it in with your salmon, okay, or anything that you like to have with your steak. You can do that. There's still a little bit more liquid. I'm just going to drain it off quickly.
That's all right. So we got a comment from Neri, who said her butter didn't drain well. So here the question would be, well, was it completely separated? So did you really have two elements in the bowl? Because if it's not really completely separated, well, then yes, you will have problems with the draining. So just keep on whipping to make sure that you really have separated the milk solids and the milk liquids from each other.
Right, so I've got a bit of a sausage there. I will just pop that aside because I'll wrap that up in a moment to while the bread is being made. But for now, you see how much it makes. So there's lovely. And there's a bit of butter on there, but that's okay because the next recipe has that too. So I'm going to jump over to the next recipe, which is the buttermilk bread. This is delicious. This one is baked in a tin, but I would normally do it. I'm not sure if you can see my Dutch oven, so the Ferro cast iron. Once you've got a Dutch oven, it's hard to do it in a different way. All right, so without having to wash the bowl, I'm just going to go to the next one. So it's asking for 180 mils of the buttermilk. So gonna throw this one away. Still more liquid there. All right. So there's no need to rewash the bowl because all those beautiful things are part of the recipe as well. What else do you use your buttermilk for? My family love it for the pancakes, but what do you use?
You mentioned the pancakes. I've also just shared that obviously you can also freeze the buttermilk if you're not planning on using it straight away. You can freeze it in ice cube trays and then just add it to maybe into, yes, we got a scones idea here.
Yes.
In the maybe in your smoothies, wherever you want to have a little bit of the protein added into your foods, then go for it, even in soups.
I occasionally just give it to my son just to have a little sip. Which is good. All right, 200 ml. So that was 180 grams of buttermilk, 200 grams of water, which I don't think I put enough here. All right. I'm wondering, because I actually was thinking this today, if we had more buttermilk, would you be able to use it all up and then just make the difference with the with water? So say if I had an extra 50 grams. Does anyone know the answer to that?
Yeah, you could use the second wash water as well, which is still a little bit of or the first wash, excuse me. The second wash, no, not anymore. But the first one, yes. So just to add a little bit of flavor.
All right, 2 teaspoons of yeast. I'm going to pop in here. Now, notice I've got the lid off. I'm going to keep that off because when you are putting yeast in, if you did it through the hole, then it's just going to sit on top of the blades. This will just ensure that it mixes and activates in this first step, which is this next step, which is the first heating step, which is when we do it to 37 degrees, 3 minutes. As soon as it hits 37, which is, you know, body temperature, there's going to be a little 37 above the big one. So I know that that's actually heated as enough, as much as it needs to. Often if I'm doing bread, I'll actually be using over here, if it's just water that I'm heating, I will use the kettle mode. If it's water and milk, I would use the warm up mode and just pop that to 37 degrees, and then you don't have to worry about the actual timing of it. So as soon as it gets there, you get a little chime, and then you know that that's the right temperature.
Oh, another great tip there. Yes, to use our mode functions in the TM6. Who's used the kettle mode? Just pop it in the chat. Let me know. Have you discovered all the modes that your TM6 has when you slide to the, well, is it we were going to the right, sliding to the left, going to the right? So it's confusing. Yes, that click. That I was after. And what's your favorite mode if you've been there? Please share. We are curious. We would like to know.
Another thing I use the kettle mode for is, the warm-up mode is when I'm doing yogurt. So instead of having to sort of work out how long it's going to take to get to that 45 degrees where you add the milk powder and the starter, it actually just makes it super, super quick. And I use UHT milk, so that actually speeds it up as well. Lots of good
good old egg boiler. I love the egg boiler. That's true. It's a great mode.
What else? Sous vide. Who's the sous vide fan yet?
I haven't seen that, but the turbo is here, the kettle mode. Great for green tea. Yes, Amanda, you're absolutely right, because your green tea shouldn't go over 80 degrees to have the benefits of the herbs in there. We're not going to cook them away.
So we've only gone 2 minutes, but the liquid in there has actually already reached 37. So I'm going to stop that using the selector. Okay. And that is just at that right temperature. So you don't need to go all the way through that 3 minutes. Okay. Love saving some time. Meanwhile, grease a deep-sided loaf with butter and set aside. And then now we're going to add in the baker's flour. I've discovered recently that Costco do quite a hefty size of baker's flour, and it works out very reasonable. So if you've got somewhere to store it.
So you're talking about the 25-kilo bags?
Maybe. Mr. Chan came home with one of those, and yeah, I'm like, sure. bread every day, no problem.
Guilty too. So what I did is I have separated mine in these large IKEA Ziploc bags. I think they're like 6 liter or so. So because I can't store them anywhere. I'm just not, if mice or anything goes into it. Some salt. So just to store them separately, but now they are airtight, and that's quite good.
Yeah, excellent.
I have a lot of money there.
Love all that. Great. Okay, mixing for 6 seconds.
So whilst we're mixing, can you just repeat quickly your temperature tip again? That we didn't quite catch all of it.
Oh, sorry. For the
You said, I think was it with the kettle mode, or is one of the modes where you said you had a tip with the temperatures?
Oh, so when you are heating, the big number is what your goal temperature is, and the small number is what it is actually at. So instead of actually heating all the way 3 minutes at all the way to the end of that 3 minutes, I could see that the liquid was already 37, and so it's the right temperature. So I didn't have to continue for the whole of that step. And sometimes been called impatient, but yeah, I like to be efficient with my cooking. So yeah, 2 minutes was enough today because it was warm enough. All right, so that is just mixed, and now it is going to knead for 3 minutes on dough mode. Love dough mode, homemade pizzas, all of those. Now, one of the other things that's really great when you are doing a lot of doughs, which, you know, I'm absolutely like to do my own because I know what's in them, having a glider board really does keep your scales and your Thermomix where it's supposed to be. I could happily walk away with this big lot of dough in there and know that this is not going to move around. You can move your Thermomix with one hand like that, but it does stay really, really solid on there. And that's part of the gift purchase at the moment. So
Wonderful. So we are adding Kay back to the mix. Here we go. Kay,
Hey.
how are the onions going?
Yeah, they smell amazing. So as you can see, they're really nice and caramelized there. Yeah, they smell delicious while they've been cooking. So now I'm going to go on with the pumpkin soup recipe. And what you can see here is in quite a few recipes, you can see this option where you can do the scaled recipe. And if it isn't an option, you can make it your own as well. So you can often make it smaller or larger. So this one is coming up either 2 portions or 4 portions. So I'm going to do 2 portions, which will use less of the ingredients. And I'm going to start from step 3. So you can do that in recipes as well, because I've already sauteed the onions. I'm going to step 3. So it's 250 grams of peeled pumpkin. So it will be about half of this. And you can see the scales there. Yep, 250. And then half a carrot cut into pieces. So I'm just chucking that in as well. And then go next. Pop the lid on. So it's going to chop that so it's ready for the soup. Speed 7 for 10 seconds.
Yes. So who else loves soup, especially during these cold Melbourne winter days? And what's your favorite food? What's your favorite soup?
Yes, there's so many soups in the Thermi. So you can see that's chopped really nicely there. Yeah, so if you search soup, you'll see lots of recipes. You can vary it. You can make your own. So there's things like minestrone, pea and ham, mixed vegetable soup, so many different recipes. And I did a carrot and coriander one the other day. That's delicious. Hug in a mug I just saw. That's another favorite. So now it says add 250 grams of water. So I'm just going to do that.
That coriander one is debatable.
Oh, yeah. Well, it doesn't have a lot of coriander in it. And it is, yeah, you could always substitute it or leave it out as well. But it's really, really tasty soup. Now it says half a tablespoon vegetable stock paste. So if you haven't made this in your Thermi, I highly recommend it. So you can keep it in the freezer or fridge, and it's delicious. So this is a game changer. So I'll pop that in and then go next. So place the simmering basket on the top. So it's going to cook for 15 minutes. So just pop that on when you're cooking above 95 degrees. 15 minutes, 100 degrees, speed 1. Then I'll come back to blend it. And then that's your soup done. So you can add cream or buttermilk or something else at the end, coconut cream, or leave it without and add some salt and pepper to taste. So this is on the mix shop. This is a cute little spice mix container. And add some basil on the top or whatever you like, and it's done. So it's so easy. And let me see what else. Yeah, it's exactly. There's lots of other blended soup recipes on Cookidoo.
Yeah, well, the chat is actually going wild with recipe suggestions or soup suggestions that we have there. So many different ones to choose from. So definitely, guys, take notes and find those recipes on Cookidoo and give them a go. So it looks like we're having a lot of soup lovers here. Also, I think it was Patrick who picked up the salt and pepper one. Kate was using as well. So, yes, thanks for pointing that out. I think it's called bamboo salt.
Yes.
something.
Salt and pepper box or something.
Yes, yes.
But
Love
yeah,
it.
it's really handy. And I just mill the salt and pepper in my Thermomix and store it in there. And then use it. So, and he said her mouth watering. It is, yeah, yum. And there's lunch for tomorrow.
There you go. All right. So now we're heading back to Kate's kitchen. This is really Kate and Kate. Is this who has chosen you two?
That's all right. We won't be able to tell if you get it wrong.
All right. So the dough has kneaded.
Yep. After 3 minutes of kneading, that is there. I'm just going to flip it over onto my silicone mat. Now this, I remember doing a class recently, and I was twisting this so that the dough could drop out, and somebody just went. They'd had a TM31 for 20 years, and didn't know this one. But because of the weight of the dough in there, you can actually just do a bit of twisting there, and it will drop out. You can just see there's still a bit of butter here on my mat. It doesn't matter because there is all that lovely buttermilk and everything in there. Now it is a little bit more of a sticky dough than your typical pizza dough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I will actually take the blades out to do this. Now there's a number of different ways you can do that, but this is a safe-ish way, so holding on, and then you can take the bottom off, and then your blades aren't going to drop on your bench or your toes or anything like that. So I'm just going to get that out, and you can just even take a little bit of that and get all the other bits in there as well. Who knows the turbo trick?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I was just 1 second ahead of you. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Right.
another way.
Yeah. Also, Mandy is sharing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And sometimes if you can't be bothered going all the way over to the turbo mode, you can just put it on the manual screen as well. So yeah, it is a bit of a sticky dough. That's fine. I'll be putting that onto pre-clean later. On the dough pre-clean. I'll get as much as I can off there though. And just going to make this into a ball. So what we want is to have a nice, as tight as possible, a nice tight skin on the top, not skin, but I always say it's like tucking the bed. So put the seam underneath it like that. And when you are proving in the silicone mat, which we're going to do now, instead of wrapping it up like like a fish and chip parcel, if just doing the two corners is actually going to allow it to prove out the side without it having to squeeze against that. So I'm just going to pop that somewhere warm, 30 minutes, and then you can bake that. Is there one that has been prepared earlier?
Exactly. So wonderful. Thank you so much for showing this. And I think we're going to go to my screen for a moment. Let me spotlight myself. Oh, here we go. Now I'm big. Yeah, so because now the dough goes into proving. So proving either in the silicone mat. If you again, you've heard that is many opportunities for you to get your hands on those silicone mats. They do actually come in a set, not in a set of two. They come in a set with a smaller version of it, which can go into the oven and replaces the baking paper, so you can bake your cookies and breads and all the other beautiful things directly on the oven mat. And the silicone mat to have a clean surface where you can prepare your food, but also prove your doughs in there. So either as a host reward, or they are also part of our business kit. So if you are watching what we are doing here, cooking for you and helping you to fall in love with your Thermomix, if that's of something that's of interest for you, especially I saw quite a few of you have already a TM6. So let's talk about how we can get your Thermomix to work and help you to pay back for itself by you joining our team there as well. So if that's of interest for you, please let us know. So, however, you can also prove your dough straight in the bread tin. I have made the bread, actually that's gluten-free chia and pepita loaf because our household is celiac. So, and because we get to eat it, not you, sorry, that I've opted in for a gluten-free version of that. I'm going to show you that in a second. What I'm using here is actually our sensor. So a sensor is like a thermometer, and it is digitally connected to your Thermomix via Bluetooth. So what you're going to do is you just pop the sensor into the dough, like we just saw, before you put it in the oven, and it just sits here on the side. There's this little attachment that keeps it in place. And what it does, it talks via this box here to your Thermomix, and you see on the Thermomix screen the exact instruction. So instead of guessing, all right, so how hot is my oven, you just turn it on wherever it says 180 for this recipe. You stop there, and the sensor will feel actually the temperature inside your oven. And it will also feel the temperature inside your bread. And it knows once it has reached that inside temperature, in this case, it was 96 or so degrees, then the Thermomix will call you and will say, hey, take the bread out of the oven because it's done. So that takes the guesswork out of your baking and cooking. It's also suitable for your meat, so it also works for that, for cakes and all the other stuff. So if you are a beginner in the cooking, but even if you are, so we are all not beginners, but we all love our sensor because it just, yeah, it's next level cooking, and helps you to create less waste by not overcooking or making bricks all by chance. Okay, so what I'm going to do quickly is going to share my screen, and I'm going to take you to Cookidoo. So let me find the correct screen. Here we go. That should be the one. No, that is definitely not the right one. 1 second. Now I need to find it. See, I was using it all night to share the. Here we go. That's the correct one. Okay, so here is my Cookidoo. So I want to quickly talk you through the yeah, here we go. So Cookidoo screen. So when you sign up, and tonight you can sign up if you haven't done yet, and you get 30 days free trial access to Cookidoo. So you can have a play after we finished and pretty much knock yourself out. Give it a go and see what's on Cookidoo, what's in it for you. And Cookidoo is like, well, sometimes we like to refer to it like this is Netflix for recipes. So be careful, you can go down a rabbit hole here. So what you're going to do is you got like your search bar in here, and you can search either for ingredients or for recipes or for cooking methods. So if you're interested in sous vide that we have heard a couple of times tonight, just type in sous vide and see what Cookidoo has on offer. You can also look for the flavored butters and so on. So now I just want to show you the recipe or what comes up when we're putting in buttermilk. You can see here we do have a couple of different filters because I can speak German. I've got a German filter in here as well, but let's just go with English and TM6 recipes. We're going to get 134 different results. What are we going to do with the buttermilk? All right, so if you're running out of ideas, we have shared a lot of ideas with you tonight, then try to ask Cookidoo for help too. So let's say we have put that in and something comes, oh, here we have heard about the sherbet. Yeah, Amanda, I saw that in the chat. But let's go with the buttermilk scones here. So any recipe that jumps at you, you go like, oh, that sounds interesting. You can have a look into the recipe either by clicking on it itself, or you can have here a look at the 3 buttons that gives you the opportunity to choose from what do you want to actually do with this recipe? So if you know the recipe already, then you can say, well, I want to definitely cook that today. So I'm going to add that to my weekly meal plan for today. I can bookmark it for later to was like, oh yeah, I'm going to do something with it later. Just, you know, like your favorites. Or I can say I want to add that to a collection. So when I say add that to a collection, you can see I'm a Cookidoo addict. Yes, sorry. But I'm going to create a new collection for you tonight, and I'm going to call that the Buttermilk collection. So anything with buttermilk, okay? So creating a new collection, meaning I'm going to find the recipe again easier by than just instead of bookmarking them. What else can I do? I can say add that recipe to my week. So not for today, but maybe for later in the week. If I do that, the calendar comes up and yep, I want to make this one on Saturday. So I'm going to save it for later. What else can I do? I can add the ingredients to my shopping list. Let's do that because I don't know if I'm going to have all the recipes. And also it gives me the opportunity to add it to my created recipes, meaning let's say my grandma has a clementine and poppy seed buttermilk scones recipe that she used to make, and I want to compare the two. And I want to create my grandma's version of that recipe. Then I can go, all right, let's pick this one as a starter and add that to my created, and I can tweak and change it on the go. That is a little bit more advanced. We're not going to cover that tonight. However, if you want to hear more about how you can convert your own recipes, please book yourself in with a session with your consultant. They are more than happy to show you. All right, so now I want to have a look at my recipe collection. So if I go here into my recipes, then I can see I've got all my collections here. They are, so this is the view for all, and this is also where I can see my bookmarks. You can see I went a bit over the top. I've got 61 recipes bookmarked. I need to do something with them. Don't stumble over that they are, half of them are in German. That's just, whenever you can speak more languages, then feel free to use Cookidoo to its fullest extent. However, we want to go back and find our buttermilk collection, and as you can see, it's down here, and guess what, there's that one recipe in there that we just put in there. So have a look. So I've got this was my Christmas 2022, in case you're interested. We got my cook club. There's my German recipes in here. I've got 102 diet recipes. I've got Indian cooking. I've got a dude food list. We have the easy essentials we're doing tonight. Eat more vegetables, 8 recipes in there, and so on, right? So please start using that, be creative, and have some fun with it. There's also saved collections. So there are ready-made collections on Cookidoo as well available. And these are usually collections with a couple of recipes. You can see there's between 17 here, there's 11 here, but sometimes there's whole books. So here's a full book with 121 recipes, or there's a low carb collection. That's a German one as well. This one is a favorite with 114 recipes. So you'd see there's actually a whole book that has been made available on Cookidoo. On that note, every time a new cookbook comes out from Thermomix, they are usually added to Cookidoo as well. So included in your subscription of $89 per year is all the new cookbooks coming out as well. All right, so now I'm in my weekly meal plan, and for tonight, that's the chia and pepita gluten-free loaf that I've made. More than happy to share the recipe in the chat box with you as well. We had some risotto, and here are the ones that I've put in here for today, but also I'm going to do it again later in the week. What I also have here is my shopping list. So there's quite a few recipes in here, and here's the clementine and poppy seed recipe that I've just added to it. So I want to have a look. All right, before I go actually shopping, let's have a look what let's shop in the pantry and in the fridge first, okay? Let's start spending too much money here. So then from here, I can say, all right, all these ingredients I have already. I've got, oh no, still have baking powder. I still have caster sugar. I'm not pretty much sure, not sure on the poppy seeds. I'll leave them in there and so on. So I can tick them off as I go, either here, or I can use the same shopping list on my device, on my phone when I'm in the shopping center. And as I put them in the cart, I can tick them off as I go. I can also use that to add additional items. So here is the place for your red wines and white wines and toilet paper and toothbrush, toothpaste, this stuff. And you can add that here easily too. Now comes the best part of it. Let's say you're a busy person and part of the reasons you're not cooking is because you never have all the ingredients at home. So how about you order the ingredients and just the ones that you need online by clicking on this button here. That will take us straight to Woolies, to the Woolworths online store. And before you ask, no, Coles isn't available yet. Woolworths is the only one at the moment. And it has created a Woolworths cart for us, okay? So here I can have a look at what they have selected. And for example, the butter I forgot to take out. So I can also delete it from here, or I can swap ingredients that or a brand that I prefer to choose. So I don't know, let's have a look here for the what other opportunities it gives me here for the self-raising flour. I'm good with the essential one, so saving a couple dollars here as well. And then I just check out with the Woolworths card and get them either delivered, or I can do a click and collect on my way home. That's super duper easy to do. All right, I hope that was a good first impression on Cookidoo. I don't know if anyone has put already the link to the 30 days free trial into the chat. If not, once I stop talking, because I can't multitask, I'm sorry. I'm start adding more links to the chat. But I think we're going to go back one more time to Kay's kitchen and having a look at, or if you can see, the buttermilk. No, sorry. What were you making? The pumpkin
soup. Yeah, so the soup has cooked, and I've actually just gone on blend mode for 1 minute. So it just says to slowly turn from speed 5 to speed 9. So I have done that already, and as you can see, and I've just added some pepper. So it just tells you through the guided cooking, or you can just go to blend mode when you're doing that. And it smells amazing. And I'm going to pour it into this Thermomix server here, which someone said before that's available as a host reward or in the business kit. And this is a 2.5 litre one, so it fits the whole capacity of the Thermomix when it's full, which is great. But because I did a smaller batch, that's going to be fine as well for 2 people. And that will keep it hot for 2 to 3 hours, or cold as well. So you can pop it in the fridge and just spin it out when you need it as well. So I will show you. And I'm just going clockwise with the spatula to go, not be touching the sharp side of the blades and not damage my spatula. And there you go. So there's some beautiful pumpkin soup. I'm going to have a little try of it and give it a taste test and let you know. Yum. Really nice and smooth and creamy. So give that one a try. You can swap it for sweet potato or whatever veggies you like as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it reminds me, there's also, and just because I saw Michelle's here, we talked about this a little bit earlier. There's a beautiful recipe where you can use up all your mixed vegetables that you find in the fridge and use the high heat mode to roast them a little bit and then turn them into, I think it's called mixed vegetable soup Michelle, if you're still here tonight and would like to share, then please pop it into the chat box there as well.
And,
here we go.
and
Oh,
that's
here
one
we go.
that's pre-programmed into the TM6 as well, and it's in the basic cookbook. So there's a chunky vegetable soup and there's the blended one as well. So yeah.
The blended one. Yes, so Mandy was just sharing that. So thank you so much for that. Wonderful. Thanks, Kay. So
No
I'm going to
worries.
add, hang on, I'm going to add you also, where am I? I'm going to add myself as well. So the three of us, so now you got us all in one place. All right, so I hope you found this Master the Basic class tonight helpful and interesting. From what I saw in the chat, there was quite some activity, which I love. So thanks for all your questions and recipe sharing that was going on. So the next step from here is actually we want you to come and join us in a face-to-face cooking class. Again, like I said, it's just adding a few more dimensions to it, including the smells and the tastes, obviously. Go to our Thermomix website, thermomix.com.au, and then you will see the events page in there as well, where you can find always all our upcoming classes being advertised. We also have a specialty class coming up on the 5th of September, which is a Taste of France with our chef Yolaine Cobar, who lives in the Bayside area where we're coming from. And there's still a couple of tickets left. However, there's always classes always added to the list, and so you can check them out, which one is the closest to you, or have a chat to your consultants. They will definitely love to invite you there as well. We covered that you are going to be able to access our host rewards program, and also if you are still in the market for TM6 and maybe you are hosting here tonight, then make sure that your consultant let you know about our current gift with purchase, which is also an absolute favorite. You can ask also your consultant if you're curious about joining our team, and would love to meet you again to one of our business info sessions where you can learn all about how you can actually earn a TM6, a Thermomix TM6, maybe a second one if you need. And ask them also for our current trade-up offers, which we have for our TM31 customers, where we've actually learned today that they are no longer being serviced because we don't have any spare parts for them anymore. So if that is something of interest for you, please go back to your consultant and ask them all about it. Okay. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, and I hope we see you all soon at one of our upcoming events or at your own cooking experience in your home soon. Bye for now.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.